Pledge of Allegiance, please stand. Is there anybody from the Clewiston Ministerial Association present? No. Okay. Please join us in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, if there's not any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda? Okay. Have the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
All in favor? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance number 2019-01, first reading, an ordinance of the City of Clewiston, Florida, Code of Ordinances, amending Section 102-75, construction requirements for curbs, curb cuts, and driveways to change the date to require property owners to pave at the property owner's expense certain driveway aprons no later than February the 1st, 2020, repealing all ordinances in conflict thereof, providing an effective date, providing authority to renumber and codify, and providing a severability clause. The recommended motion is to approve ordinance number 2019-01 on first reading and to set the public hearing for March 4th, 2019.
So moved.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Any public comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution number 2019-04, resolution of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, approving the first amended as-is contract for sale and purchase between the City of Clewiston and Polarama LLC. This resolution stipulates certain things, and the closing is set for next week, I believe, in reading the document. So the recommended motion is to approve resolution number 2019-04.
So moved.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any other discussion on this? Any public comment? Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution number 2019-05, a resolution approving the first amended as-is contract for sale and purchase between the City of Clewiston and NQAS Corp. The recommended motion is to approve resolution number 2019-05. I believe that this was corrected. The resolution was corrected to reflect some of the advice by the attorney.
It will allow assignment to another wholly owned subsidiary of the purchaser.
Okay. All right. And the city attorney to be the escrow agent.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Again, okay. I have a motion to approve resolution number 2019-05.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any public comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution number 2019-06 approves emergency repairs to city well pumps, wells number 1 and number 4. Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, ratifying the emergency repair of the city's water system, authorizing the attached purchase orders, including the necessary work for the completion of the repairs. Recommended motion is to approve resolution number 2019-06, which approves the following A through C as outlined in the agenda package. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve as presented.
Second. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any other comments from the city manager or from the utilities director? We're good? Okay. Any public comments? All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution number 2019-07 approves the amendment to agreement between the City of Clewiston, Florida and eGov Strategies LLC for professional services to redesign the City of Clewiston website and to be more contemporary, better organized, and better accommodating to mobile devices. Resolution number 2019-07, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, approving an amendment to the professional services agreement dated April 25th, 2011, between the City of Clewiston and eGov Strategies LLC. Recommended motion is to approve. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. Is there a second? Motion and a second. Any comments? Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution number 2019-08 approves CPA Andrew Jones's letter of engagement to form the city's fiscal year 2018 independent audit. There is a letter of engagement. Resolution number 2019-08, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, approving an agreement between the city and Andrew Jones CPA for auditing services for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2018. Recommended motion is to approve. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
One question.
Okay.
Missed this earlier. The not to exceed the 70,000, is that close to what we paid in the past?
I'll get that. I can get the exact amount for you. It's actually a little more.
Okay, but that's,
Because of the scope of services and the time frame that we're involved in?
It will be most likely that it'll be more than last year's audit, and the reason being because there's a special audit requirement for 18 due to our federal funding threshold, but it shouldn't be that much more. But it will be not to exceed.
okay.
Okay. Any other further comments on that or questions? Is there a motion to approve resolution number 2019-08? Already had the motion, didn't I, in a second? Okay, sorry. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any, all in favor, all approved? Any, I'm going too fast here.
It's on first.
All right, all right, all in favor, and everybody's approved it, okay. All right, motion approved. All right, resolution number 2019-09. Resolution number 2019-09, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, approving modification number Z, as in zebra, 0012-1 to subgrant agreement between the Division of Emergency Management and the City of Clewiston, increasing the federal funding by $125,948.97. The recommended motion is to approve resolution number 2019-09.
So moved.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion or comments on this? Any public comment? If not, is all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution number 2019-10 approves the lease of 2 copy machines from Zeno Xerox Corporation. These machines will replace outdated copiers in City Hall and Community Development at a cost savings. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston approving the lease of the copy machines from Xerox Corporation. Recommended motion is to approve. Resolution number 2019-10. The lease agreement is attached.
So moved.
I have a motion. Is there a second? Any further discussion? Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, there is a list of departmental monthly activity reports that's presented for information-only purposes for the commission and in the package. Is there any comments or questions about that? Okay, at this time, any persons allowed to speak on any matter that pertains to city business, we ask that you come forward and state your name for the record. Comments from the city attorney?
No comment.
Okay. Mr. Johnson?
Just to advise the commission, I will be out Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
I have to go back to Lake City for
Okay.
some business, but I will be available by email and phone.
Okay, thank you. All right, okay.
Yep. Yeah, Mayor, thank you. Earlier in the workshop, I made a comment on how we were going to hire, the next manager, and I made a recommendation. I didn't like. I preferred to use the headhunter approach, where we go out and look for the applicant, not allow the applicant come to us. And so, I think it's very important that we get the right person, hired. And we know that the average of a manager is probably 5 years with us. So, the next 5 years we can do I think we can do quite a bit. But it's simple. My motion is to hire a headhunter. That's the way I understood. Everybody was leaning towards doing that, and that's my motion to hire a headhunter versus what we have in place now is to go through the application and process and bring them in and interview them and let them come to us and so forth. And I know for a fact, because I went through that, you're going to find a lot of unemployed managers. You're going to find a lot of upcoming there's assistant city managers that would like to be managers. You get a lot of those. The upcoming, the guys that are up for a management position. And we saw that, when we did it, when I did it previously a few years ago. So I like to think outside the box. So very simple. I'm putting out there a motion that we hire a headhunter to hire our next manager. Mayor.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. I know that Commissioner Rodriguez has said that at the last when we made this decision that we were going with a headhunter, or I know there's another term for it.
It's a search consultant.
Search consultant.
That's a pretty good word.
I think that from what my understanding is that we were going to go through the process of looking at the senior advisors and getting that information back to the commission, or back to, through the whole process, and to look at those names. Now, in the workshop, I believe that, Mr. Johnson talked about, the timing of all of this. And I did speak to him, and he is committed to helping us out. But again, this could be, the time is of the essence. And I think Commissioner Rodriguez had mentioned earlier, thinking outside the box. I don't want to, in my opinion, I think that the search process through the Florida city and county managers has merit. We can narrow down the folks that come in through there. I am not opposed to looking at bringing on as you mentioned, a headhunter or a search consultant to find the right candidate for the position. I just don't want to do one or the other. I think if we're going to do them, I think we should look at doing them both. Who's not to say that our search consultant will not find the person that we believe is the right person as a city manager, but we have an opportunity through the FCCMA to find the person that we need for the community. I think
It doesn't have to be either or, does it? I mean, it can be in conjunction one with the other. Because I talked to the headhunter. I called him and I said, tell me. And he said that he knows the senior advisors.
Yeah.
But I think that there's some appeal to the headhunter that the senior advisors can't bring. One of them being what Mr. Brandenburg actually brought up as a very good point, that when you're good at your job and you're content, you don't necessarily want to throw it out there that you're looking for a job, because that may cost you your job. And so the privacy that a headhunter brings, as well as, in my opinion, and I don't think we can have enough of this is why I wanted Wendell's expertise. I think that that's one more person with a whole lot more expertise than what we have at looking for candidates. And that when you look at our budget and the cost, it's not astronomical. It's actually very, very reasonable. It's a very reasonable expense, and it's a normal expense that cities incur. So, I mean, if you look at all the ones that this one company has placed, it's unbelievable.
I asked Wendell, and I asked him, and we had a conversation this afternoon. He said, could we do in conjunction? Could we do both of these things at the same time? And he recommended. He said, and I think we feel we need to do one or the other. I think, if I understand, and I don't know how you feel about it. It's just if we put applications out there and we get 100 applications. And then we're not really going to look at these applications. We got the headhunters bringing 3 applicants from, New York, Las Vegas, California. They're bringing them here. So we got 100 applications. We don't have to hire them, but I mean, we're going to have to go through that process. I mean, I think we're just candy coating it. Really, at the end of the day, we're gonna go with the recommendation of this headhunter that we hired.
But why can't the headhunter weigh in on what the senior advisor brings? So if the senior advisor brings 10 people to the table, then the headhunter could weigh in on what he thinks about those 10 people, which he probably already knows like the back of his hand, because he's probably already seen them in 20 or more interviews already.
Can I ask you a question? When you said you talked to someone, is this person specifically for city and county government, or federal government, state government?
I would say at 95% of the ones that I looked at are city managers in the state of Florida. And he said that the majority of the applicants are from within the state of Florida. So that would pick up what you're talking about with the senior advisor. It's just the position that Mr. Brandenburg said is that you pick up other people. But he had like 2 applicants, and you mentioned that there were 2 out-of-state applicants, and the one that you went through, he said they're not very many show up from out of state.
Commissioner, may I ask you, because Mayor, if I may, that you've called and you've got some information. Do you know the method of operation of the headhunter? What does a headhunter do? He identifies a person.
Yes. He comes, they meet with each of the commissioners and senior staff and directors.
The headhunter.
Yes, to try and get a feel for what we're looking for.
Okay.
So they do a lot of the work to try and match us. I guess they're like matchmakers,
Right.
And then so they do a lot of what scares me or worries me is that, I mean, you see the exposure that we see to applicants. You hire someone with an interview after sitting with them 10 or 15 minutes. What feel do you really get? That's scary. We're going to pick up somebody to run our city based on that little bit of information. I mean, we're going to have more information, but really one-on-one, we don't have a lot of time. So I think because they already know people, they can get to know us to match us to the other side.
So you're saying they come here, then after that they go and search.
Yes.
Do they have a list, or they have
Yes.
then they bring us back a list of
Narrow
1,
search.
2, narrows down.
Whatever
So-
you tell them, they bring them back.
And then we at that time, do we sit down with them, meet with them, with the
Yes, their
with the
contract.
applicants?
Their contract is a flat fee, and then you have to pay for the applicant's travel and lodging.
Which we've done in the past, or when
Yeah.
we've done the searches before. So do you, Wendell, with your knowledge of the whole process, do you believe that both of these, that we could continue with the process through the senior advisors and then continue and go ahead and start talking to somebody, or do you believe it should be one or the other?
I think it should be both. Now, I can tell you that the senior advisors through FCCMA has got one primary objective, and that's to find the city managers a good job, and it's to find commissioners a good city manager. That's what they do, because that's what they were before they became senior advisors. So I would tell you that any search consultant that is in this business is going to, and certainly the ones here in Florida, they're going to reach out to the senior advisors and find out, especially if we tell them we've already took the liberty of sending the invitation to this agency. They'll work in tandem. And now the only thing is, I'm not sure about if we have to go competitive to find a consultant. If it exceeds the threshold, do we have to advertise for one, or can the commission just pick one?
We'll have to discuss that, yeah, after, once the commission decides which route they want to go.
Well, what's the threshold?
Say again, the 25,000 normally is the competitive threshold by the city's procurement standards.
So if it is 25,000 or more, or is it more than 25,000?
If it's more than 25,000, it's got to be 24,999, I think, isn't it, Sherry?
So then we just talk them down to that. I think we can talk them down.
That's kind of different there now. But again, I think the commission, certainly your priority is to get the best city manager you possibly can. I would share with you that FCCMA senior advisors, that's their goal. That's what they want to do too. That's why they don't charge anything. They're not about the money. And then certainly the consultant is going to want to do a good job for you, because that's what they do. And the better manager they get you, the better they're going to do in the future. So
I can tell you, I went back and forth. I was pro headhunter, and then I read about the senior advisors and everything. I went through that. But then listening to Julio tonight, and also to Gary's comment, I'm back on board. I say Julio is right. We cannot afford to mess this up. I say we get this right.
Okay.
The only
Right.
other thing to that is if paying the headhunter isn't the big deal, 25,000 is small to get the right guy. But now if you got a guy we can only pay 110 or 120, are we on the low end of what a city manager makes? You know, are we going to
I
get
think-
somebody?
I think in speaking to Wendell, I think there's a range that you felt that was right for a town of our size and where we're at.
Thank you, Mayor. In one-on-ones I've had with the commission in the last few days, talking about the invitation, the salary compensation package has been a topic, and it's certainly, I think all of you have agreed that this prior compensation package over the years for the city manager has been, by today's standard, too low. And if you do comparables, you obviously are going to have to take economic conditions into consideration. But on the other hand, I think here in the city of Clewiston, you have to take the geographic and economic conditions and some cultural conditions. It's a tough job because of the location and some issues that a coastal city manager is just not going to face. You got to have you got to have the will to come here. That's the first thing. And once you get here, you got to have the will to like it. I didn't have any problem with that, and the right person won't have any problem with that. But I think by comparison, and I put the amount that seemed to be the standard that the city commission was looking for. But that's certainly what you decide is going to be the low to the high pay range. That's your choice.
Okay.
He's got to be careful about what he says because we're on camera. So. Well said.
Okay.
But that's
Well,
my only thing is.
I think that, if we look as Wendell has said, that in looking at that, he realizes that probably that 110 range is not enough, and that it's got to be higher than that, and that it's something that we could, he's made recommendations in the invitation to apply, and it might be that still has to be changed. I think that we're just, I think that we all agree that time is of the essence, that we want to hire the best city manager possible, using FCCMA and I like Wendell's term better, a search consultant for issues of privacy. I mean, that everything, that they, if somebody's out there maybe thinking about a job, that through the search consultants, it would be might want to talk to them before they might want to talk to senior advisors. So I still believe that we should do both. And that Wendell is still the point of contact and the coordinator, not only for that, but also in receiving input from the community, because there are people who have come up to me and said, hey, what about such and such? I said, they have to submit a resume. They have to go through the process of contacting the city.
I think, Mayor, if I may, that the
Absolutely.
salary should not be a holdup on hiring the next manager here. If we want to hire the best guy available, the best person available out there, whether male or female, the compensation is going to have to be greater than what we've been used to. So
Right, there's no doubt of that.
we're not, the days of us getting away with what we've been paying,
It's not worth it.
it's not, you can't do that anymore. So I want this guy, when he gets up every morning, not to worry if he can pay to buy milk. I want him to worry about that he's going to run the city of Clewiston.
Okay.
That's all I want, man. And what I'm saying is, I don't have a ceiling for the salary. I know there's a ceiling there, but certainly, and I've said, my number is you got to be north of 150 to 175, whatever it takes. It may take 200,000 to bring the right guy here, but that's the only way you're gonna. It's like Mr. Wendell says, and I think money does matter. Money does matter because the first time around when we were doing, and I think you remember, Mayor, that when we took application, we hired a guy, and we hired a guy with, he had a, nice looking guy, very talented, with a nice suit, came in, he impressed us. We hired him, and if I can remember right, he just, he wasn't coming to work for what we were offering him. So we lost him. So we lost a guy that we really wanted. Am I correct or wrong? Am I correct?
Mr. Reed, right,
Okay.
yes,
You remember that, going back for several years ago.
right.
So I don't want that to happen. And so whatever the commission decides is the right starting salary, the package has to be attractive enough to get that what I'm going to call a star manager here. The guy that's going to, he's going to hit the ground running and do us a good job running the
Because of
city.
past successes. Because of past successes.
Yeah,
Knows
he's got
exactly what
history,
needs
he's
to be
got
done.
experience, he's got education. He's the guy, or the person, the guy or the lady, whoever that is. That's who we got to go after.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say because I
Okay,
can
so
see
the motion was for a search consultant, headhunter. Second was that. Okay, we already have in place the process that we've already started. So they're in parallel?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
If Wendell
Okay,
feels comfortable with that.
I feel comfortable with it. Now, the only issue I would have is whether the consultant would feel comfortable with that. I don't know why he wouldn't, but I think certainly that question needs to be asked of whoever is selected if they got an issue with that, and I don't know why they would, because that's just going to be extra resource for them.
Right.
I think it no problem.
okay,
I got no problem with them.
okay.
Kind of happy with it.
Any public comment? Okay, Mr. Attorney?
Well, the advertisement you put out could just say salary and negotiable.
Okay.
And not put dollar amounts in it.
Okay,
And that would be a good point. And then the search consultant certainly can gauge that with conversations with me or any of you.
okay.
He should know that, and I think he'll be able to add some emphasis to being successful with what he knows about the.
The only drawback to that, in my opinion, is that I don't want someone to look at us in our prior history and say, yeah, they're never going to pay, and therefore miss the point. So I like the range that shows the higher, what we have discussed, but also to say negotiable, commensurate with experience or whatever. I think that helps sell, because someone who may say, yeah, that's Clewiston, may respond if we have an actual salary and they see that we're serious about paying someone what they're worth.
Well, I will tell you that the search consultant is going to be discussing with potential applicants that he solicits or he solicits there will be discussion about the salary.
I think two things will bring that candidate here. I think the challenge, and we got to pay him well. That's it. What else? What is there? What else is there?
What else do we have to offer?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, what else? A challenge to to change our destiny and pay him well. I'm not saying that's all I'm saying, but
Okay.
Another suggestion, maybe
Yes,
you
sir.
could advertise it without any number in it, and then ask for advice from your consultant after they've looked at the range of people available, and can
Okay.
tell you, hey, you need to pay whatever the number is to get the person you want.
Okay.
That works.
They will
Okay,
do
we're all in
that.
agreement with that. Okay. Any further comments? All right, I have a motion, and a second. All in favor?
all right.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, all right. You didn't have anything else, okay? And Wendell, you didn't have anything else on that. And I know Julio, you started that out. Is there anything else?
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
I don't have
Anything else?
I'm good.
Okay, all right. We'll look forward to our next meeting on February the 18th. Appreciate everybody being here with us tonight.
Public comments? You gonna do public comments?
I did earlier. Yeah, okay. Just in case, any public comments, just in case, okay? All right. Okay, is there a motion to?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned, we're done. Thank you.
This kind of meetings I like, I'm not used to these.